Good morning, everybody, and happy Tuesday. I'm excited to talk today about a topic that I was stunned to discover I hadn't talked about yet, and yet it comes up so much in the work that I do with my clients in terms of setting scenes in books. You're writing a nonfiction book, self-help book, you're writing a memoir, and self-help books don't have to be boring. In fact, think about some of the most compelling storytellers that you know, and think about how they sink you into a scene or a moment of where they are. They give you just the right details of perhaps what they were wearing, what the atmosphere was like, what the exterior of where they were looked like. They sink you in. They give you just as much information as you need to know about the characters that are there, and then they unfold the story. Then think about a really boring storyteller who goes on and on about mindless details that don't do anything to set the scene or create any kind of conflict. What we're looking for is looking to evoke emotion and intimacy and vulnerability and conflict when we write scenes in books. What I find is that people that write self-help books, they want to just talk about what they know. They don't want to tell personal stories about themselves. They don't want to go into why they're the expert. And that's a real shame, because that's how they're going to stand out from the crowd and how they're going to connect with people. So, being in the movie business for a really long time, I worked in scenes. And setting scenes in books is really, really valuable. And I'm going to give you 3 tips. But first I'm going to say, in the movie business, one thing we learned was, you don't show the car driving to the next scene unless in the car something really relevant happens that we need to know about in those characters. And it's the same within writing a book. You don't need to take us through the entire lead up to the scene or even the lead out of the scene. You just need to sink us in the moment. And that's the first tip that I'm going to give you. If you're not able yet as a writer, if you haven't gotten that kind of experience yet where you know exactly where to sink into a scene or a moment to make a point about what you are explaining in your self-help book, or even in your memoir, which should be full of scenes, then overwrite. It's better to write more than write less, because then you can have a great coach or a great editor come in and sharpen what it is that you're trying to say. That can cut out tons of fat in half a minute, but at least you've gotten to the juicy gold in the middle. The second tip is, when you're writing these scenes, don't be afraid to talk about what the pizza smelled like, especially if it's a book about dieting, or for example, what it was like when you left a building and you were in a place that was potentially dangerous for you. Describe the sounds, describe the people that are around you, describe the way that your hands felt, describe the fear that was in your head. Go take us into those moments and make them very succinct. The third is, you don't want to write long scenes that don't have dialogue. We need to eventually hear what the players are saying, and we need to hear what you're saying. Don't just reiterate to us what's in your head. That can be very droning and very boring. So, just pepper the dialogue. And here's the greatest thing about writing a book. You don't have to necessarily do the dialogue verbatim. We don't need to hear the lead-in conversation about whether the groceries are put in the refrigerator unless there's incredible amounts of tension that is being cut, or, what's not being said in that conversation, which tends to work better in certain fiction books, and also, not certain, all good fiction books, and in movies. But in self-help, specifically, you want to get to the conversation that is giving the most meat of what is going on in that scene, so that you can get to why you are writing about what you're writing in this book. With memoir, the conversation can obviously go on a lot longer, but again, you don't want to drone on and bore people. You want to get right to the heart of it, and you can take the liberty to jump time. It's your story, it's your interpretation, it's how you tell it. I hope some of this has inspired you to be a better scene writer. I am having a workshop this Saturday where people will be coming together and writing on writing prompts. And those are the best ways to learn how to write scenes, because it takes you right into the moment of an experience that you had or something that you need to describe, and that expands your awareness of doing that in books. You can read more about these workshops at my website, www.astoryinside.com. And my name is Kim O'Hara. I'm an intuitive book coach, and I want you all to write amazing scenes. Have a great day.